conference of HRDI on the larger theme of human rights concern of Indian diaspora. The second day of the conference will begin with the first technical session on the issue of slavery in the land of pure, the tragic story of Pakistan's 2 million Dalits. We'll start to give you a perspective with a documentary which will just begin. Documentary.
She, like other young girls, worked hard on her household chores. When she was 18, she was married to a farmer of her own ethnic group and religion, a Hindu Koli. This group is quite low in the social hierarchy, but for Marwa, her husband, and their large family was like her little heaven. They were on their own lands and owned enough animals to survive. The harshness of the terrain and struggle for survival was softened with the love of her family, but not for long. Drought hit their area so badly that Marwa and her family, like thousands of the residents, had to say goodbye to their homeland and move in search of livelihood. In the times of drought, families migrate to the irrigated lands and try to find work as laborers wherever they can. Marwa and her family were told by a friend that one landlord was hiring and giving good advance. They rushed to try their luck and were very happy that their days of roaming about in search of food were over.
मेरी 8 साल में जमींदार कने नवा कोट जमीन चंदिया करने आ रही था जमींदार का 4000 रुपया टका भी दो तमे का फसल आले को अभी 4000 लीन फसल.
That was exactly 7 years ago. We were taken in by a landlord who gave us in cash 4,000 rupees per family and allowed us to make our huts on his land. He said if we worked hard on his barren land to make it fertile and grow crops for him, he would split the income with us and give us an advance every year. We made our huts, about 4 to 5 in one enclosure. They made a fence around each cluster. We were happy because we thought our bad days were over. We had no idea that our bad days were just about to begin. The first year was not so bad. The work was beyond my capacity, but at least we had food. I would get up at 4 in the morning with other women. We would clean and cook. We ate in the morning and took some food to the fields with us. Those were our only 2 meals as we came back to our huts at nightfall. When we were taken where more hard work was needed, like making or clearing of irrigation channels, preparation of land, and weeding the crop. We women were kept separate from our men. We were taken for tasks like weeding or cotton picking. Sometimes I saw my husband and sometimes I didn't. Mostly I saw him when he would come for food by midday in the fields where the women were working. I was allowed to sleep at night and so were most of the women, but men were made to work at night many times. The landlord had 2 sons. They were called kamdars. They divided the land between small groups of women and gave us impossible targets to keep pressure on us. Every day some women would become prey to their beating. They beat us harshly with a long stick. Even when our men were close by and saw this brutality, they were helpless and could not do anything. At night, we would try to comfort each other. These kamdars had other men who were kept to terrorize us and make us work harder. These were ugly gangsters. Altogether, I remember there were about 15 or 16 men who used to hover around us and our menfolk. I was terrified terrified of them and also hated them. Our children played around where we worked. As they grew older, they were put to work. They worked close to us or were taken away to do chores at their homes or in other fields. They also lived in fear like us. The second year was worse. They didn't give us any money, but our loan, we heard, went up quite a bit. There was a gunman guarding each cluster of our huts. They guarded us at work. We were not allowed to leave or even openly talk to each other. Our families could not marry our children without the permission of the landlord, and it had to be within this community. We could not even think of taking a sick family member outside this area or to visit a relative. We lived in a prison. Those who tried to leave were hunted down and beaten up. We were made to work in chains until the supervisors thought we were docile enough to work without them. They would give us rice or wheat, flour per family. If it was just a couple, they'd give 5 kilos for 2 weeks, and if we had a family, they gave 10 kilos for 2 weeks. They did not give anything else: sugar, tea, salt, nothing. All we had was bread, and at times we would bring green chilies or onions from the fields to eat with our bread. One day they took a woman aside in the bushes to rape her. They said she had not completed her target. I yelled at them and said, "God will ask you about the havoc you have played on our lives. How much more can we work?" My protest was noted intensely. I was beaten up but was also tagged to be a rebel who dared to protest. The agents of the Gogna raped women more often than he did. They threatened them not to make noise. I would keep my eyes closed and speak when it became unbearable for me. I became a victim of their brutality also. No one was spared. One day, when I couldn't tolerate the brutality of a young woman, I spoke up again and they put a gun on my forehead. This they had not done before. They wanted to kill me in rage. I ran to the huts and hid in the house of one farmer who worked on the neighboring feudal's lands nearby. Most of us were Hindus, but there was a Muslim family also. The woman was a little fairer than us and more beautiful. The senior worker of the Gognas had kept her for himself. He sent her husband away on the pretext of some work and moved into his house. He raped her over and over, and no one living around was able to do anything. Whenever she got a chance to talk to us, she prayed she could die to get out of this misery. The last 2 years were like living in hell. The funeral used to come once a week, but the sons lived there. They had a house close to where we all lived. The other supervisors were a bunch of thugs, gangsters, and rapists whose job was to terrify people. Our loan had increased to 4 lakhs, and not a single penny was paid to us. My sister-in-law was young and attractive. Our women keep their faces veiled, but one day the son of the landlord looked at her and liked her. He ordered that she should be brought to his house for him. We all were terrified. Her husband protested to whatever extent he could. They usually rape women and left them to their families. This man wanted my sister-in-law in his house. We could not sleep that night. We didn't know when they would come to get her. The next day, when my brother-in-law was working, they killed him. We were all shocked and didn't know what would happen next. My sister-in-law knew they were clearing the path to her. She was like a zombie. We all were even afraid to cry. The whole Hrdi community was up until late at night. They were waiting for their next move. My husband and I pretended to be asleep, but we kept talking to each other quietly. We were so uncertain about what tomorrow would bring for us that we just didn't want to wait around. We planned to escape. My husband and I waited until everyone was asleep, and then we made our move. Because of my brother-in-law's murder, the security and the people themselves were not on their usual routine. We managed to find a way out, and then we ran. We ran all night through the bushes and ditches without knowing where we were headed. The pain of leaving my children behind was killing me, but we hoped that we could get some help for all of them. We finally managed to get to the police and some organizations that helped run away Hrdis. We were told that our country had a law which forbids landlords to keep us as slaves. After a lot of effort over the months, we finally managed to bring the police with us to recover all the slaves of our landlord, but fate was not with us. The private force of the landlord opened fire on the police when they were loading the Hrdis into a truck. They took away many of the ones we were about to rescue. I was so happy to have my children, but I was torn when I learned my 5-year-old son had been taken back. They had already killed my brother-in-law and taken away my sister-in-law. I could only save their children. Some who we saved said she had been seen at his house. Some said they had killed her. Some said he had married her. We are not sure what happened to her. Even if she is alive, she would be miserable living with the murderer of her husband and without her children. I've been living in this camp now. My heart still pains for my son who would now be about 12 years old. I hope someday I will see him. Here at the camp, I do labor work and tend to my family. Life is still very hard for me and my family. There's little water, no place where we can go if we are sick. We are very far away from a city, very few options of livelihood, but then I don't pray for comforts. I'm very happy crushing stones. At least I don't live in fear. People complain about these camps, and I say it's okay if we don't have facilities. We have something to eat, and we can live with dignity. That is a lot for me. I thank God for it.
After such a thoughtful documentary, I think it's time to begin our technical session, the first technical session of the second day of our international conference. I would like to formally begin by inviting our guests on the dais. At the very outset, I would like to welcome Shri Sushil Panditji, renowned columnist and activist to the dais, sir, to chair the session. Please welcome him with a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Second, I would like to invite Dr. Alok Sharma ji, Faculty, Associate Professor, Law Faculty, Delhi University. Ma'am, you're welcome. Please welcome her with a huge round of applause. Third, we have a very special guest amongst us, Mr. Hindu Singh Soda ji, who is a minority rights activist. Sir, you are welcome. We are also honored to have amongst us Mr. Rajesh ji, who is a renowned human rights activist from Cambodia, to give us a perspective from there. Sir. I would like to welcome our advocate based out of Delhi, Mr. Riputi Bhardwaj, to come and join us on the stage, sir. And Shri Rajesh Gogna, the Survey Server of HRDI. So before we technically start, I would request Madam Bhavna Bajaj ji to come and officially welcome all our guests by giving us a badge and a token of appreciation. First, to our chair, Shri Sushil Pandit ji. Now to Ma'am Aloka Sharma ji. Now please welcome our second guest, Ma'am Alok Sharma ji. I request you to welcome our guest who has come all the way from Sindh, Mr. Hindu Singh Soda ji. Thank you so much, ma'am. I would now request to welcome Shri Rajesh ji. I'll also request you to please welcome Shri Ripu Bhardwaj ji, advocate. We have amongst us three special guests, and I would request our Secretary General Shri Rajesh Gogna ji to welcome all of them. First of all, Shri Ish Chadha ji, who has been working in the area of upliftment of refugees from Pakistan since a very long time. Sir. I would now request sir to please welcome Shri Mahavir Gupta ji, who has also been working in the field of upliftment of refugees from Delhi since a very long time. And last but not the least, I would like to request sir to please welcome Shri Hanuman Prasad ji, who has come all the way from the Sindh and has been living in Delhi for the last 4 years. Thank you so much, sir. Now, I would like to request Dr. Alok Sharma ji, Associate Professor, Law Faculty, Delhi University, to come and introduce us to the subject. Ma'am, you're welcome.
सभागार में उपस्थित सभी मान्यगण को मेरा नमस्कार. First of all, I would like to say thanks to the organizers for giving me this opportunity to introduce this subject which is relevant, and dignitaries on the dais and off the dais. I want to introduce the topic Dalits in Pakistan. Why we have taken this topic for the today's discussion. Dalits, as you know, that in Pakistan, Dalits are the most disadvantaged group. And Dalit, as the word itself says, the oppressed people. And in our country, you know that we have, earlier Pakistan and India were the same situation. So since 2000 years, the Dalits are facing the problems, oppression, discrimination in our country. And it continued in Pakistan till now. Now in our schedule, when the meeting was there in 3032, Dr. Ambedkar wanted to have the separate electorate for Dalits, which was accepted by the award, but Gandhiji persuaded him to not to go for that and have a common electorate for Dalits. And in India, Government of India Act 1935, we have taken the word scheduled caste, and Dalit has gone from the official scenario. So that is why we call them scheduled caste now. Now we see the historical perspective of the Dalits in Pakistan. Muhammad Ali Jinnah in his address wanted to tell the Dalits that we in Pakistan will treat you in a better way, that you will be treated in the Hindu country. So, and with his speech, many people were impressed, and one of them was Mr. Jogendranath Mandal. He was a Dalit leader from East Bangladesh, which is now East Pakistan, and he believed his words and he supported the creation of Pakistan. And he went with Jinnah to Pakistan, and Jinnah made him the tentative chairman of the Constituent Assembly of Pakistan, and he also became the first law minister of Pakistan. But that was during the time of Jinnah only. After his death, the real face of Pakistan came into existence, and the people, they faced lot of problems, and Mandal was so disappointed with the discrimination and all kind of oppression that he resigned from the ministry and went back to India, came back to India, and so from there the problems of Dalits began in Pakistan. That is the historical perspective. One of the members raised the issue that scheduled castes should be treated as minority and their rights should be protected. This demand was rejected by the people, the leaders of Muslim leaders in Pakistan, that in Pakistan, Hindus or Muslims, whoever is depressed or whatever, we treat them with equality, so there is no need for any provision. So they rejected any provision for their betterment, and there is no provision in the law at that time to protect the Dalits in Pakistan. So that was the historical perspective, but the more problems are yet to come after this time, and the oppression started in Pakistan. Now the position of Dalits in Pakistan, we can say that they are the upper caste Hindus and the Muslims, because Pakistan has two castes, Muslims and non-Muslims. So in non-Muslims, the upper caste Hindus, they are dominating the situation, and they have the education, they have good education. Population-wise, the upper caste Hindus are less in population, but they have more benefits in Pakistan, because on merit they get admission in good colleges, they have higher education and some of the posts also. Now, when we say the Dalits are facing lot of problems, and there is nobody to raise voice for these Dalits. Now, the atrocities which we say that which are leveled against the Dalits, the all kind of atrocities which we see in our country before the independence, you can say that all kind of atrocities are against them. In Pakistan, untouchability is rampant, and there is no provision against the untouchability. Untouchability in all forms, in state form, in society, the Dalits are treated separately. When we talk about the rural Pakistan, the Dalits cannot live in the village, proper village. They have to live outside the village, where there is no public amenities like water, roads, any facilities they are not having. So in rural Pakistan, we say that the people are there outside. In urban cities also, Dalits face the same problem. The separate areas have been assigned for them to live. So Valmikis and the sweepers and the other people, they live in separate places, so they cannot mingle with the population, the upper caste Hindus and Muslims in the urban villages also. Another problem which they face is the big mafia, they grab the lands. And the land which they have, because the upper caste Hindus migrated from Pakistan in 65 and 71, so the most of the land has been taken by the Dalits, because they take it. But the big cities, the mafia take the Muslim mafia take that land and they dispossess. More than 80% Dalits are landless agriculture in Pakistan. They do not have any land, they do not have any property, so their position is very pathetic. And in Pakistan, we say around 3 million Dalits are living, and they have no facilities as far as education is concerned, because like India and other SAARC countries, in Pakistan there is no reservation in any place. In earlier times, 6% reservation was given in the jobs, but later on Nawaz Sharif in 1998 converted that scheduled caste reservation quota into the minority quota. When it converted into minority quota, it means the upper caste Hindus and the other Christian minorities, basically, they are taking the benefits because Dalits are not educated. So they cannot reach up to that level where they can get the reservation in jobs. So that data, that quota which is reserved for Dalits earlier was also being used by the upper caste Hindus and the Christians. So that is another problem which are facing in an atrocity. We can say that all kind of atrocities, from grabbing of the land to rape of the Dalit women, it is rampant and free for all, because there is no provision, legal provisions also for the women or the any kind of section of society in Dalits. Now this is the general position in society. Now what is the role of the government, the Pakistan state government in this? Now we say Pakistan, first of all, the basic problem is that being the Islamic country, Pakistan pretend that there is no discrimination in reference to caste or religion. So per se they always refuse to have any kind of discrimination on the basis of caste. When the state officially says that we do not discriminate on the basis of caste, so we cannot talk about any kind of favor or any kind of benefits for the scheduled castes, because they say we have no discrimination in our society. And it is very wrong presumption, because we see not only in Hindus, only Muslims also, they have the division of castes. Muslim also, they practice the caste, and in Muslim there is also low caste like the Hindus. Same kind of setup, even if the Islam denies that. But when you do not accept it openly, then you do not create any provisions for that also. The Human Rights Commission for Pakistan, they have worked a lot for the Dalits in Pakistan, and they accepted and they freed a lot of people from the bonded labor and slavery. So they say that the discrimination is rampant in Pakistan. But when the government denies, in a denial mode, so you cannot ask for any kind of legal provisions. So when they deny the discrimination, so you cannot talk about any laws which say that you can, there is no law for the prevention of untouchability. There is no law that you commit atrocities on Dalits and the government is not going to help you because they say we do not have any legislation. So they have no legislation at all. And very interestingly, in Pakistan, the Constitution of 73, it talks about the rights of minorities only in the principles of policy, like our directive principles, which are not enforceable in the courts. And in fundamental rights, they do not create any provisions for the right of the minorities at all. So you cannot, even if you say atrocities are there, you cannot get it enforced because Constitution does not recognize that as the enforceable rights. So no constitutional provisions for the protection of Dalits, no legislation for the protection of Dalits, and moreover no seats have been reserved for the Dalit people to contest election. And very interestingly, Pakistan has never conducted any official data in census what is the percentage of Dalits, and they deny it is around 4 lakhs only. However, it is around 30 lakhs. And in census, they wrongly represent Dalits as the upper caste Hindus, or they totally denied their existence. So when they say population is very less, so there is no need to create any kind of reservation for the elections. So when Dalits, they have no reserved seats in there, and minority, of course the Muslims are taking majority of the posts in the parliament of Pakistan, and the minorities have very less representation. In minorities, only the upper caste Hindus and Christians they take the, and who is going to give the tickets to Dalits? Because they say Dalits are not winnable candidates. Because for win you need power, you need money. So Dalits, they do not have any kind of money and power, so no tickets have been given by any political parties to Dalits. Only Pakistan People's Party or 1-2 parties gave 1 or 2 tickets to Dalits. And even, the interesting fact is, in the Dalit community itself, they practice untouchability. So they divide themselves into different castes and they treat some of the Dalits as untouchables. So when they in the community itself, they are not united, so who is going to do, good job for them? So people do not vote for Dalit candidates, even from their own community. So they have no political representation in the national parliament, in the state assemblies, or in the local bodies also. So that is the issue, that Pakistan never wants the Dalits to be represented. Even if we say we have some of the cases of the cricketers in Pakistan that they have to convert from Dalit to Muslims, because these kind of problems, if you are a Muslim then fine, but if you belong to some other community it's very difficult to get any good position in Pakistan. An interesting fact is that the leaders, the minority leaders who have elected, they never raise the issue of Dalits in, because Dalits are the landless laborers on their work. So they never want to raise their issues, because if they raise their issues, they themselves lose their bonded labors. And they never raise any kind of reservation or any kind, because the annihilation of caste is not raised by any of the politicians. And regarding the conversion to Islam, because it is very rampant that the lower caste communities are forcibly converted to Islam, nobody takes the issue of the conversion to the Islam, because they say if we take these kind of issues, then we have to face the wrath of the Islamic country, because these people are very dominant, the mullahs, etc. So they deliberately they do not raise any issue. So we say, as far as the political scenario, no political organization or no social organizations are working in Pakistan for the betterment of the Dalits. The human rights, Pakistan get money from various international organizations for the upliftment of Dalits, but they never use that money for their betterment. Rather, they use the money for displacement of Dalits to create some of the big malls and some kind of other good buildings. So in all, we can say that Pakistan neither providing any political representations to Dalit, nor they provide any kind of reservation in jobs, nor in the education, and they are not doing anything. So the position of the Dalits in Pakistan, we can say that whatever thing we heard before independence in our country, that is the still existent positions of Dalit in Pakistan. So in this context, when we say they are facing all kind of discrimination, untouchability, there is no legal provisions for them to ask for their rights, nothing from the government. So this is the topic, it becomes relevant in this context, that being the Hindus or being the minority, we have to think something we have to do for their rights and for their upliftment in Pakistan. Thank you.